You are now listening to the Legends Lingo podcast, presented by CouchGuysSports.com. Here are your hosts, Al.
You didn't ask him about that long?
I was getting there, Beetle.
What the fuck kind of host are you? I mean, you're
Beetle,
burying the
holy
lead.
Shit, dude. Someone
Chris
be
is-
perched, please.
Powder,
Yes, sir.
and Matty D.
And on top of that, now you have a triple effect. You have the Niners looking for a long-term answer with Jimmy G in-house. Maybe they don't want to spend the money on Jimmy G. Maybe he gets freed up because they go after a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who now theoretically could be freed up. So there's a lot of dominoes to fall.
Enjoy the show.
All right. Welcome back. Legends Lingo Podcast, episode 122, as always, presented by the biggest, the baddest, and the best website on the North Shore, South Shore, everywhere in New England, CouchGuysSports.com. Check out all the written content, all the blogs, all the podcasts, the YouTube page, the Twitch page, and everything else in between. I'm your host, Alan Hegan. Alongside me, as always, we have Matty D. We got Powder. Guys, what's up?
Nothing, Al. Just another week. Red Sox are playing well. Bruins advance. Celtics, nah. But, yeah, it's pretty good life in New England sports.
It is. It is.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's great to be a fan of Boston sports.
It is. Like, we are so spoiled, and it's just sickening
Seriously.
how spoiled we are. Like, we expect championships, and even though we haven't had one in, like, I think 3 years, it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to come around. But as Powder kind of alluded to, it's going to be a loaded show. Patriots after star receiver. The Bruins are on to the second round. The Celtics are probably going to get swept, but we'll talk about that briefly. And we'll talk a little bit about not the Red Sox tonight, but a different kind of Sox. I think you can figure it out if you're a baseball fan. You can make that connection.
Yeah.
All right, but first, Patriots. They're back in the news, and it might be in a good way. So there's a wide receiver in Atlanta. His name's Julio Jones, 7-time Pro Bowler. I don't know if you guys know that. He made a really cool catch in the Super Bowl, even though his team didn't win. Sorry about that. Not sorry at all for the 28-3 comeback. But here's the deal. Julio Jones, he was on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. By the way, did you guys see that clip?
Yeah, that was very weird.
It was weird.
That had to be staged, right?
I hope.
Nothing in professional sports like that would go unchecked nowadays. Like everything goes through an agent, goes through a publicist, goes through all that stuff.
Right. That had to be staged. Jared Scally, love the kid. One of my good friends on this podcast or on this network. On the Couch Guys Sports podcast was like, that was not staged, right? I was like, of course it was staged.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? But anyways, so Julio Jones says he's out of Atlanta. He wants to go to a winning team. And supposedly, according to Chris Sims, take this for what it's worth because we don't know how reliable it is. Yeah. Julio Jones has two teams particularly on his mind, the Tennessee Titans and our very own New England Patriots. Now, you think about all the moves that the Patriots have made this offseason, gentlemen. The defense is revamped back up. You signed Matt Judon. You got Kyle Van Noy back from Miami. Donta Hightower's coming back. Kyle Duggar's going to be in his second year. You added some other pieces in free agency. The offense, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar. And now you have the chance to bring in Julio Jones. Now you're telling me that here's the thing that just concerns me a little bit, and then I'll kind of give you guys the floor. You guys remember the Patriots made a trade with the Falcons before, right, for a receiver?
Different caliber, I'd say.
Do you remember, Powder?
I'm trying to remember, but I can't off the top of my head.
Remember Mohamed Sanu?
Oh, yeah.
Second round pick for Mohamed Sanu.
That's why I couldn't remember, because he didn't have a memorable.
No, that's fair. He was memorable for breaking his ankle here in New England. That's all he was memorable for. But he was traded for a second round pick. Atlanta's going to want a first round pick. There's no doubt about it. They are going to want a first round pick for Julio Jones, rightfully so. Julio Jones is one of the best receivers in the NFL. Let me ask you guys this, though. If you're the Patriots, plain and simple, let's say it takes a first rounder and let's say N'Keal Harry. Let's just throw that trade package out there. N'Keal Harry and a first rounder for Julio Jones. Are you doing it? I'll go to Matty first, and then I'll go to Powder, and then I'll give you my answer. Matty?
All right. So if it's a 2022 first, no. If it's a 2023 first, sure. My biggest red flag, I would say, in terms of bringing Julio Jones, other than the injuries that have crept up over the past few seasons, is his desire to play with Cam Newton. And I don't know if you're the Patriots and you could very easily give it to Mac Jones out of camp, you're going to bring in a guy with that caliber, that type of say in the locker room to play with a quarterback that might be the backup from jump. I don't know if that's a great move there, but it could just be a bunch of just kind of, what they call that, a little bit of just words for the sake of words coming out of Julio, but we'll see.
Matty, you do realize that Cam Newton's going to be the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, right?
The day they show up, sure. If he gets outplayed, I could see Mac Jones playing right away.
So you think Mac Jones has a chance to start week 1?
If he comes out and is lights out, if he's everything that he was billed to be, and if he passes the Bill Belichick test.
Okay, that's the only way. He has to play like 100 out of 100 on a test, A+, perfect. I agree with that. Yeah. I'm sorry, Powder. Go ahead.
Okay. It's okay. I agree with Matty in the sense like in 2022, whatever the next draft is, first round pick, no. But if 2023, yes. Just because obviously, Al, you've alluded to it and we talked about in the past, his injury history, especially recently, has not been able to stay on the field recently. So yes, he's a number 1 wide receiver. He's a huge threat in the red zone and all that, but is he someone you want to waste a building block? Because the Patriots, maybe not this year will be contending for a Super Bowl, but if you have one more year to build on everything and give Mac Jones a year, maybe he sits for half the year, then plays the second half of the year, and you give him that time, I think the 2022-2023 season could be a very good year for Patriots fans, especially if they load back up in the draft and everything else like that and just bolster up. So I don't know if I would waste first round pick next year on him.
All right, so let me rework the deal a little bit. N'Keal Harry and a 2022 second round pick. Do you do it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at that point, you got to do it.
Yeah, you're upgrading your wide receiver. You're going from someone who he's proven he hasn't been great. Like, he's had a couple moments, but really, what has he shown you in his career with the Patriots? And then a second rounder, that's fine to get a top wide receiver.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, N'Keal Harry is only going to be entering his 3rd NFL season.
Yeah.
And he was injured for the first half of 2019. 2020, he wasn't really there. Like, Jacoby Myers was better than him. But I'm just thinking, if you add Julio, right, think of all the offensive weapons you now have. You have the whole offensive line. Your backfield is Damian Harris, Sony Michel, and James White. Your receivers and tight ends. Now, think about this. Julio Jones, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, and then if you want to get really crazy, Devin Asiasi. They are, if they get Julio too, that is a loaded offense. Yeah. You have so many weapons that you can choose from.
Yeah.
And how do you come to the ball?
You just need the guy to get him the ball. You just need the guy to get him the ball.
Yes. And listen, Matty, I think that this is what I think. I think later on in the season, there's the possibility for a quarterback change. But I think at least the first half of the season, you're going to see Cam in there. People are saying that he's working on his throwing progressions. I don't know. But if you get Julio here, you need to start Cam at least the first couple of weeks. You have to. You can't trade for Julio and then say, all right, Mac, you're going to be the starter, because Julio's going to say, what the heck is this? I came to play with Cam Newton, not a rookie.
Right, but they're saying yeah, I agree with that.
But go ahead, Powder.
I was just going to say, everything with Julio is everything you hear coming out is he wants to go to contender. He wants to win because obviously he was a quarter away from winning a Super Bowl, having a ring. And it wasn't his fault they choked it away. So he wants to go somewhere where he can win a ring because he's a great wide receiver. He's one of the greatest of his generation. And like every sport, it's like a lot of players are remembered for how many rings they have at the end of the day. And he has none.
And they can, but okay, so in that case, he could go to Tennessee too, because Tennessee is only competing with Indy for that AFC South, because the Jaguars are going to be horrible even with Trevor Lawrence, and the Houston Texans are a dumpster fire. So he could go there. Yeah. He could go to Baltimore, because Baltimore loves to sign their veteran wide receivers, and the Chargers are a dark horse. I think that he could end up going to LA, getting the sunshine, play with Justin Herbert, play alongside Keenan Allen. Like, that's a good fit too.
Yeah.
So, but I do understand what both of you guys are saying, and I agree. I just think if the right deal's in place, you got to make the move, because if you can get a number 1 receiver without overpaying, it's going to serve you well.
Yeah, he's a supreme talent.
He is. Any final thoughts on Julio before we kind of move on to the next topic?
I think we covered it.
All right. Let's get this out of the way. Celtics playing the Nets, lost game 1, 104-93. Kemba Walker, 15 points. I think he was like 2 for something shooting. He was horrible. Like, can we just make this a quick conversation? Can we just say they're going to lose in 4 or 5?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't. I think they even came out of the gate swinging in game 1.
They were up
And
6.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They came out playing pretty good. So the fact that they still end up losing by, what was it, right around 10 points, I just think the talent differential without Jaylen Brown is too big.
It's a pattern. It's a pattern with the Nets. And this is why I hated the matchup. Every time they play the Nets, first half, they play them pretty tough. And it's like, okay, it's going to be competitive. Then the Nets go on a little run in the second half. Game's over.
Yeah.
It's just, it never changes. So that's my thing. Powder, I don't know if you wanted to add anything real quick.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I was kind of following it on my phone. I kept looking. I'm like, wow, Celtics are right in it. They're winning, like you said, up at half. So I'm like, they're playing them competitive. Maybe they can steal a game or two and steal momentum. But like you just said, the talent's just there. I think the Nets can have a lackadaisical first half and not really care. And then next thing you know, they turn it on and Durant takes over. Even Harden doesn't matter. They have like 3 absolute superstars and a couple stars and stuff like that. So immediately once they want to turn it on, they're one of those teams that you see every couple of years that can just flip the switch in any game whatsoever. And I just think the Celtics are too injured and just not enough talent to compete in this series at all.
You guys see that little circle that's in my bedroom right there? If you're watching on video, you can see it in the background.
Yeah.
What team is that?
I believe it's the Maine Celtics. Is that the Maine Celtics or the Boston Celtics?
I think it's supposed to be the Boston Celtics, but yeah, by the time we record next time, we're gonna be singing the na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. It's gonna be done in 4 or 5. They might win 1 game at the Garden because the Garden's gonna be at full capacity. Thank the lucky stars for that.
Yeah.
But this team is going nowhere. And for you boneheads that think that they can win this series, what are you watching? And have you watched basketball this year? The Nets are the superior team in the series. They're going to prove it. They proved it in game 1 by having a bad first half and then just playing good enough to win by double digits like Matty D said. So it drives me nuts that people think they actually have a chance in the series because they are not winning the series, period.
No chance.
Jason Tatum was outscored by 2 of their big 3. And the third, James Harden, only scored 1 less point on 7 less shots. That's just the firepower those 3 guys can bring. The Celtics can't match it without Jaylen Brown.
Really quick, by the way, out of 104 points, you know how many of the big 3 scored of that?
Must have been like at least 70.
Yeah, it was like it's almost 80, I think.
82.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
82 of the 104 points. So 80% of your points are scored by 3 guys who rightfully so. They're superstars like Powder said. So listen, I'm done with the Celtics. I'm done with them for 2020, 2021. Put a bow in the season, go out in the offseason and make some moves and actually show that you want to compete with the Nets, with the Bucks, with the 76ers, because I am sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm not sick and tired of, guys?
Good food?
Good food, Powder, yes. I'm not sick of good food. Matty D, you know where's a good place to go if you're in Maine?
I think I got a place. Do you have a place? Because I think we might have the same place in mind.
I think we do. Is it Cowbell Burgers by any chance?
Ding, 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 ding. That'd be correct.
So for the month of May, Legends Lingo has a featured sponsor for the month of May. That is Cowbell Burgers. Cowbell Burgers has multiple locations throughout southern Maine. Any travelers, any vacationers that are coming in traveling to Maine this month and in the upcoming summer, you need to make sure that you check one of these 3 places out. There are 3 locations that you can go to. Count them. 1, 2, 3. First place is in Biddeford, which is about 20 minutes south to Portland and connected to Old Orchard Beach. The second one is about an hour north from the Biddeford location, which is located in Lewiston, Maine, right off the highway. Then the third location is Powder's putting up his fingers and counting elementary school math. 1, 2, 3. The third location is the newest location in Scarborough, Maine, which just opened up a little bit over a year ago. Cowbell has been receiving multiple accolades for years now. In the past 5 years of their existence, they've been named one of the top Maine best burgers in the past couple of years, and they have been cited to do so in the #1 popular vacation guide magazine, that being called the Down East magazine. So they're getting some public recognition here. So this place is absolutely legit. Cowbell is a must try if you get the chance to travel to Maine anytime in the near future. And we have a little sweetener for you, a little promo code, if you will. if you tell any of your servers, bartenders, waiters, whatever it is, waitresses, whoever it may be, that Legends Lingo podcast sent you, you will get 10% off your meal. 10% off. So if you go, you have a nice $50 meal, you're gonna get $5 off automatically, just like that. Not bad. That could take care of the tip for the meal, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But again, you go, say Legends Lingo podcast sent you, that's 10% off your meal. Search online, check out their website at www.cowbellmaine.com. Cowbell Burgers. You're going to love a good burger down in Maine. Shout out to Cowbell Burgers for being the sponsor of the month. Of the month of May. Hopefully we'll be with them in the future. We'll see what happens. But if not, just go down and have a good burger. I've been there before. They have good food. They have some trivia nights. Like they're doing good things down there. All right. Let's talk about a happy team. Let's talk about the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So the Boston Bruins, we are three of the most casual hockey fans that you will ever meet. We should have gotten Jared Scally here too, because he could have joined us for the foursome of casual Bruins fans. But Boston Bruins, after losing the first game 3-2 in overtime, win 4 straight against the Washington Capitals, advancing to the second round of the NHL playoffs. They are looking at a matchup either between the New York Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins coming in as the 1 seed in their division and the Islanders being the number 4 seed in the division. So let me ask you guys this. First of all, overall thoughts on the Capitals series, because I thought after game 1, the Bruins just outplayed the Capitals in every aspect. Tuukka Rask, by the way, over a 940 save percentage. So for all you Tuukka Rask haters, I said this to Jared Scally too. I know I refer back to Jared, but that's because I just saw him literally an hour before we recorded. What leg do you have to stand on besides, oh, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup yet. Oh my goodness, he's now Stanley Cup in his name. So what? So what? He literally is the all-time Bruins leader in goalie wins in the playoffs. He overtook that by winning those games in Washington. So I don't want to hear anymore that he's not an elite goalie. So you can forget that. The second line of Taylor Hall, Craig Smith, and David Krejci has been producing. And that perfection line of Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron, they've been producing. Like Patrice Bergeron had 2 goals in the clinching game. I think Pasternak had that first goal, which was just incredible, by the way. That was
so sick.
Craftsmanship.
Even as a casual, I was in awe of that goal.
Mwah.
Chef's
kiss.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. The Bruins are going to move on. So, again, overall thoughts after game 1, outplayed them in every aspect. They were more physical. And I hate to sound like a really casual hockey fan. They put more pucks on net. On the power play, they actually got good opportunities, which was nice to see. So that's just my kind of overall thoughts. So I want to get your guys' overall thoughts, and I just have a quick question before we move into our final topic of the night. So let's go to Powder and then to Matty D.
So kind of off of what you said, a lot of people were chirping Tuukka after game 1 because he let kind of a softie in overtime that lost it. And he kind of, I think, took all that and said, you know what, I'm going to prove to you that I am a good goalie, especially in the playoffs. And he really just was one of the main reasons the Bruins won all those games besides the last one were, well, the last 2 were 4-1 and 3-1, but still Tuukka had to make some big saves throughout the series, and he was there all series long to be the catalyst for the Bruins. And like I said, he kind of took all the criticism and used it as motivation, and I think it just shows why he's so good. So I just think having Tuukka playing hot is going to be the best thing for the Bruins going forward.
Agree with all your points. I couldn't have said that better myself. Matty?
Yeah, it was just great to see them play against a team that they've had a little bit of the yips against over the last few years, but they came out and, they lost game 1. And I do think they were a lucky shot away from winning game 1. If the opposing goalie left off a soft goal in game 1, kind of like he did in game 2, they could have swept this thing. So they came out strong. And like you said, that top line played great. They had the 3 top goal scorers, 3 of the top 4 points getters in this series, which is what you need to have happen. Your stars in the playoffs need to carry you. So to see, the top line doing well, Taylor Hall doing fantastic, and Tuukka Rask playing great, this is exactly like to see. And another thing you like to see is the Penguins and Islanders going double overtime last night.
Yes, full-heartedly agree. And that's going to lead us to our next point. So great job with the segue, Matty. I think you know how to do this podcasting thing a little bit.
Get the hang of it. Get hang with you boys.
Getting the hang of it. We love it. But here's the question now that I have, you guys, and it's a plain and simple question. Who would you rather the Bruins play the next round, the New York Islanders or the Pittsburgh Penguins? Because I got my answer.
I think the Penguins. The Penguins. They've had a good luck against the Penguins in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Penguins. I think the Islanders just every year we say this could be their year, and you never know, they could get hot, and especially playing. But in a way, it doesn't really matter because if they go all 7, it's gonna be a long series. The Bruins have some time off, fresh legs going into it. But yeah, I would say the Penguins.
So here's my thing. I do agree with the Penguins. The only reason I would want to play the Islanders, and I know it doesn't matter much in hockey, but I'm going to say it anyway, the home ice advantage, because I truly think in the second round with an almost full capacity TD Garden for the Bruins, that would carry them. They'd have so much adrenaline, just so much to play for. And I think you take those 2 games easily in Boston.
Yeah.
And then if you just get
That's a great point, yeah.
And then if you just get 1 in Long Island, then you're looking at a 3-1 series lead, and then you can take the 5th game at home.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. Getting home ice might be better than the better matchup.
And listen, this Islander team, they have some good players.
Yeah.
Brock Nelson's good. Andrew Ladd is good. Let's see who else they have. Kyle Palmieri is good. On defense, Sebastian Aho is a great defenseman, one of the better ones in the league. You know, their goalies, like, they have like Corey Schneider and like I think it's Sergei Varlamov and stuff like that, or Semyon Varlamov. There's no real like good goaltenders. So it's like I would give the Bruins the advantage in the goaltending in that series, but if Tuukka plays the way he's supposed to play, I wouldn't worry about either one. I would go if the Bruins play the Islanders, Bruins in 7, and if the Bruins play the Penguins, I go Bruins in 6.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
That's just
I like that.
That's just me. That's just me. Do you guys have any additional thoughts that you want to throw out there?
Not really. I just think if they keep playing this good, I mean, they have a real chance at running at the cup.
I think this is the year that they can do it because I think getting Taylor Hall and Mike Riley, like nobody talks about the Mike Riley part. Like Mike Riley's a solid defenseman and he beefs up your second, third line on defense. So the thing is like he was a good, trade. Obviously Taylor Hall beefing up your second line. And if you resign him long-term, oh man, the Bruins are going to be in good shape for the next couple of years, which I think they're going to do. I think he's going to end up being a Bruin for a few more years, but that's just me. But this is the year to do it. Tuukka is probably on his last hurrah in a sense. So you know what? This is the year to put all the pieces together. If you can get by this next round, correct me if I'm wrong, but someone told me this. I think it was Jared. When you get to the Final Four, there's a reseeding, if I heard correctly.
I do think hockey is the only sport that has the reseeding format in their playoff structure.
Okay, especially this year because it's so different because they didn't do strictly Eastern and Western Conference. They did like sub divisions and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's, again, I think this is the year because if you can get, I would love it. And I'm just laughing thinking about this. I would love to get Toronto to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. I would love that matchup. Imagine torturing Toronto again. Deny them a chance at the Cup again.
Yep.
That would be incredible. You know what else? You know what else is incredible? If you're not going to Maine, but you're sticking around in Massachusetts area, little old MA, you could go and potentially watch a game or just get a bite to eat at A&B Kitchen and Bar.
Yep.
Powder, you want to tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, I can. Like we've been talking about the Bruins, even the Celtics. If you want to go to if you want to go into Boston and can't get tickets, well, we have the next best place besides the Garden. A&B Kitchen and Bar is in Boston, reopened at the beginning of April, and it's right across the street from the TD Garden. It's the newest spot to meet up before and after games to have dinner and drinks. And if you don't have tickets, they have 9 newly installed 70-inch TVs all around the restaurant. So they have an elevated menu on a traditional New England pub with freshly made in-house dishes like chicken pot pie, meatloaf made with organically raised beef from Naaman Farms, local clams, and locally caught in local sausage. Draft beers from area breweries pair well, like Gentile Brewery in Beverly, Lord Hobo in Notch. And if you want patio experience, they have a raised patio right across the street from the garden, and they have a spectacular view of the Zakim Bridge. And if you're looking for the outdoor feel but still want to stay indoors to see those TVs, like I said, they have 32 feet of open garage door along Causeway Street and 16 feet of open garage door along Beverly Street. So you have all the benefits of an open air experience while being indoors. Like I said, if you don't have tickets for a game, you can come in there and watch the game on 70-inch TVs. They are open Monday through Sunday at 3 p.m., but if there's a day game, they open at 11 a.m. Again, thank you, A&B Kitchen Bar, for sponsoring us.
A&B Burgers, A&B Kitchen and Bar. The microphone just took a little tumble. So if you saw that on video, congratulations.
The place sounded so good, your mic couldn't even take it. Had to fall right over.
Literally a mic drop as we spoke. But finally, we're not going to talk Red Sox because the Red Sox are 29-19. The Tampa Bay Rays have won like 10 in a row, so they're in first place currently by like half a game, so whatever. And we'll have a full Red Sox breakdown like as the season goes along. But
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about the Chicago White Sox and specifically Tony La Russa. So I don't know the situation too well. I know it involves Yerman Mercedes. I'm pretty sure is his name.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
The Yerminator.
How about Powder? Because you are one of our big baseball guys in the state. Why don't you kind of set the scene for what's been going on?
So, just real quick, a little background. Tony La Russa is 76 or something, and he was hired by the White Sox this offseason after the White Sox just made the playoffs and their manager won Manager of the Year. He got fired, and the White Sox hired a new manager. That's their owner's friend, and a lot of people questioned him because he's old school, and the White Sox are a very young team. So fast forward to his season, there's been a couple instances where Tony La Russa has said like we should be old school, we shouldn't showboat, we shouldn't backflip, blah 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 blah. Like a lot of old school guys are. So this is what now almost 2 weeks ago, the White Sox were beating up on the Twins. I think it was like 14-3. And the Twins had what's his
Williams
name?
Ostadio.
Yep.
La
On the mound.
Tortuga.
Yep. On the mound, a position player, a utility player, just throwing 45-mile-per-hour eephuses to plate, and Yerman Mercedes was up 3-0, and La Tortuga threw a pitch, and Mercedes swung on 3-0 and hit it 450 feet. And so Tony La Russa said that was his manager, the White Sox manager, said that was unacceptable. We can't be doing that. And then the next day, the Twins threw at Mercedes, and Tony La Russa said, I fully back what the Twins did. That's the right thing to do. So a lot of the White Sox players were backing Mercedes, saying like, no, it's new school. Like who cares? And so there's a lot of tension between the White Sox players and the White Sox manager.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, shocker. Old Tony La Russa coaching a young team, and you're telling me there's a problem before May's over? Wow, I didn't see that coming at all.
Shocking, really.
Yeah.
Really, like it ruffles my eyebrows just thinking about that. Like we knew this was going to happen. We knew something dumb like this was going to happen. You need to have your players' backs no matter what. That is being a good manager. That's baseball managing 101. Unless they are throwing at a pitcher's head on purpose. If your pitcher's literally trying to injure somebody by hitting them in the head, that's one thing. The guy swung on 3-0. Like, who cares? Honestly, who cares? Because if you're the pitcher, you shouldn't be down 3-0 anyway. Execute your pitches.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Don't have a 3-0 count for a guy that has bases loaded and he knows a fastball's coming right down the middle. That's my whole thing, and I'm going to stick by that. I don't care. Tony La Russa will not, and this is a bold prediction, and I want this to come back in some way, shape, or form. I wish we did quote cards because this would be perfect. Tony La Russa will not manage the White Sox past 2021 because he will not make it past this season. He's going to be done. He's going to be done. He's not going to want to manage anymore. He's going to hate all these new school rules. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a stupid signing from the beginning. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence a little bit here because on one end, Tony Russa wanted to make sure that Mercedes understood that missing a take sign from the third base coach wasn't going to be tolerated, and that makes sense. You don't want your teammates, you don't want the players just doing whatever they want. There has to be a team structure, so I get that. But calling him out in public in today's day and age is just not right. It doesn't make sense. It's not like he was just broadcasting this to the local media. You have a good soundbite that's going around the world in 10 minutes. Like everyone's going to hear this. And
10 minutes. 10 minutes. How about 2 minutes?
Exactly right. It's just it's going around the globe instantly. And to throw your guy into the bus is just not a good look for you, regardless of what he did. And the thing that really I do not like, I don't agree with one bit, is talking about the respect of the game, talking about the feel of the game itself. You put a position player whose nickname is La Tortuga on the mound, throwing 47 miles an hour, that's not baseball either. No. That's giving up. And if you're going to keep having this squabbling where teams are mad at each other for producing later in the game because they're getting blown out, have a mercy rule. Take it out altogether. But I don't like this. I don't like throwing the manager. I don't like the manager throwing him under the bus. And it didn't just stop there. Today, he made some kind of like underhand comments about Mercedes through Andrew Vaughn. Talked about how he doesn't celebrate things too early and he goes about it the right way and he knows how to grind. And it's just like, man, if you're really trying to get the team out from underneath like your respect, this is how you do it.
I can't stand Tony La Russa anymore. Powder, I know you love Tony La Russa. I know when we met him at Red Sox Winter Weekend a few years ago, I know you had a conversation with him. So how do you really feel about all of this?
So obviously, Tony Russa was my favorite manager growing up because his quote I kind of live by: the worst players make the best coaches. Like I was always a backup growing up, so I always looked up to him. But now it's kind of like I feel like he's just like everybody said, he's too old. He doesn't get all the new school stuff. That it's more about having fun and like celebrating when you do something. It's hard. Like you see, we already have 6 no-hitters, 7 if you count Mad Bum. But you have 6 no-hitters. It's hard to hit a baseball, especially these days with everybody throwing 97, 98 with incredible movement. And then like DeGrom's pitching today. Obviously, no one's like DeGrom, but DeGrom has a 90-mile-per-hour slider. There are guys who just their stuff is just. I watch Major League Baseball and I'm baffled. Like I have no idea how people hit at that level. So when you hit a home run, you celebrate. And then the other thing they kind of say, they've said it on Starting 9, and I agree with it. Obviously Mercedes is young, he's not young because it took him a while to get up, but he's still not even in arbitration yet. So he still has years to go before arbitration. And when he gets to arbitration, do you think they're going to look at his numbers and say, oh, wait, there's 1 home run that was hit on 3-0. Let's dock him money. Or they're just going to look at the total of home runs he hit. And a walk isn't going to help him get paid. A home run's going to help him get paid. So I don't care what you do because in the end, I'm for the players and I want everybody to get paid as much money as they can be paid. So a home run in his stats is going to look a lot better come 3-4 years down the road when he's fighting to get paid.
That's such a good point, Powder. And I mean, people might not realize this. When you're in that arbitration room, it 1 home run could matter. If he had 24, that 25th and being able to argue a 25th home run matters. If he finishes with 29, that 30th home run makes a huge difference.
Yep, that was the exact example I was going to use, Matty. Spot on.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. People look at stats. 30 looks better than 29.
Way better. Even though it's only 1 more. It's crazy.
39 doesn't look as good as 40. 49 doesn't look as good as 50.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just Tony La Russa. You should have just stayed retired. You got your World Series ring with the Red Sox. Just
doing absolutely nothing.
Exactly. Go off into the sunset and just call it a day.
And, Tony La Russa is definitely widely respected. Like you said, Powder, he's an all-time great. But at the same time, do you really want people just throwing business out to the media? I mean, this guy had a pretty public snafu, let's say it very, very lightly in the offseason. So
after he got hired.
Yeah, exactly. He was just hired, and then he gets in some trouble. So maybe if you live in a glass house, don't start throwing stones.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to look at things because Tony La Russa is not going to last past 2021. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm whispering.
And to take from the White Sox, you can put that on the board.
Yes.
Love the dramatic effects. All right. Anything else before we head out for the week, guys?
Nope.
All right. Fair enough. Short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
Check out everything going on couchguysports.com. Check out Matty D's podcast on the network, Fantasy Baseball. It's him. It's Kevin Perdios, the High Heat Fantasy Baseball podcast. Go check that out. Check out his writings. I think he still writes. I don't know. I can't tell anymore.
Oh, yeah. Every Thursday.
Okay, every Thursday. Perfect. Sorry, I genuinely forgot for a second. That was a slip of the brain by me. Powder writes every Tuesdays. You can check out his MLB coverage on the website on Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. I write on Mondays and Fridays. Go check out everything. We're hitting so many new milestones at Couch Guy that we keep going up. Couch Guy Sports to the moon, baby. Hashtag CGS fam. But if nothing else, for episode 122, we got Powder, we got Matty D, we got myself, Al. Rate, review, subscribe to the Legends Lingo podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and everywhere else where you can subscribe to us on a podcast platform. Go do it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week for episode 123.
Yes, sir.